It's led to not just the New York Times piece comparing this to birtherism. I'm going to play you some other sound, but let me just give you this because it dropped this morning from Newsweek. Ready? An inspection report for the McDonald's restaurant in Pennsylvania cited employees not having hands clean and properly washed. They literally, it says McDonald's Trump worked at failed last health inspection. That's what the media is doing today. He went to a dirty McDonald's. What? Who at Newsweek would say, yes, get that up there. Tweet it. Get it out there. Eliana, you run a newspaper. You run a publication. How did somebody say, yes, that's good, go with it at Newsweek?
I mean, that's it. That's it. I think this is going to tip the election. McDonald's failed the health inspection.
Clicks.
I mean, if anything,
it's all clicks.
Donald Trump would have liked to have seen that before he went there because he's a germaphobe. Like, I suppose.
And Megyn, he had a moment. He had this hilarious moment when he was being sort of instructed on how to scoop the fries into the fry container. He turned to the camera and he marveled and said, "Never touches the human hand." He said that actually yesterday. He made a point to note that when he was scooping the fries.
It's so good. Okay, so here is an August of this year ad from Kamala Harris touting her alleged history working at McDonald's.
She grew up in a middle-class home. She was the daughter of a working mom, and she worked at McDonald's while she got her degree. Kamala Harris knows what it's like to be middle class.
Okay, she knows what it's like, Eliana. A few days later, the Washington Post reported on the ad, writing, quote, "Harris is making her stint at the Golden Arches a part of her story," end quote. Other outlets, including the New York Times, CNN, Politico, and ABC News, also repeated the claim, relying on Harris's testimony alone as evidence. The New York Times and Politico reported she worked at McDonald's between her freshman and sophomore years in college. So there we go. She puts it out there. Everybody runs with it. And only the Free Beacon starts kicking the tires to say, did she? It's the same way that as they've all run with she grew up middle class, when she absolutely does not appear to have grown up middle class. Both of her parents were PhDs, and she's not from Oakland either. She grew up in Canada, right? I mean, like, she's got all these little details about her bio, much like her running mate, that she falsely emphasizes to make herself look a certain way that actually don't pan out.
Right. And what that doesn't capture is that actually the campaign's initial claim was that she worked at McDonald's to pay her way through school, which you're right. Both the parents were PhDs, and the mother was a pioneering cancer researcher. And that's not the type of person that pays their way through school unless the parents make them. And that isn't the case. And the campaign was forced to admit that. And there was just no coverage of the fact outside the Free Beacon that the campaign story had actually changed on this. And what I really marvel at is you see everywhere that Donald Trump is claiming without evidence that she never worked at McDonald's. He has as much evidence for his claim, if not more, than she has for her claim to have held this job. You know, she's offered no evidence for it. So, but you will never see a sentence in any of these outlets saying that she is claimed without evidence.
So what you have instead is a media in full-on meltdown that he went at all. Like, this is ridiculous what he did. You know, who does he think he's fooling? This was staged. This is what we keep getting, that this was staged.
Oh, that part was amazing.
That's my favorite thing, that this was staged. So this is back to Newsweek. Rumors have been circulating on social media that former President Donald Trump's visit to the popular fast food chain was staged. In response to which, Emily, a Twitter follow, Sean Agnew tweets, "Wait, he wasn't actually hired as the new fry guy?" As if anybody didn't understand this. And let me give you a little bit more of the media reaction here in SOT 3.
Former President Donald Trump put on an apron today to pull off a political stunt in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
logic to it. It's a stunt. He, as you know, appears to be not well, and he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign.
The McDonald's thing can be summarized as yet another event we see as a buffoonish disaster, but his cultists and bosses think was a triumph of populism.
She actually worked in a McDonald's. She didn't go and pander and disrespect McDonald's workers by standing there in your red tie and take a picture.
Okay, that was Tim Walz on The View just a moment ago. And that last bit there, calling this a pander and a disrespectful thing to do, that Trump was disrespecting, Emily, actual McDonald's workers. How?
I mean, that's a crazy position for the campaign to take. They should just say, we're focused on, things beyond political pandering or whatever. I'm not a Democratic campaign strategist by the grace of God, but to say that Donald Trump, who is he's going so viral, the entire country is enjoying the memes, whether people actually are going to vote for Donald Trump or not. Everyone is enjoying the memes, and you don't want to, Tim Walz, look like you're utterly humorless and accuse him, who is having these actually pretty natural conversations that Tim Walz could never have in front of cameras with McDonald's employees and with people going through the drive-thru. I mean, Tim Walz doesn't have an ounce of the charisma that Donald Trump has, whether you love Trump or hate him. He's very successful in those types of interactions. So to position yourself as humorless instead of just moving on to another topic is really, really stupid of the campaign and the media in general. I mean, I feel like I get triggered every time I hear Keith Olbermann talk in that cadence, it's 2007 again. But they look completely humorous. They have learned zero lessons from 2016 and 2020, which is that actually sometimes it'll make their case stronger to give Trump a W where he's actually earned it, because then they can begin the work of genuinely persuading people who might see Trump at McDonald's and be like, oh, he's pretty friendly and approachable, and he seems to get along with normal human beings like no other politicians are able to. And they don't actually ever address that. They just treat him like he's Mussolini and he's terrible at all of this. And it makes it very hard for them to connect with swing voters, I think, when they react like that.
That's exactly right. So, Eliana, this is what stuck me over the weekend. Mediaite, which used to be actually an interesting website, now has gone far left. I mean, every single post on there is trying to hurt Trump. Every single one. They're obviously on a mission to bring him down. And they post over the weekend the following: Trump serves up McDonald's drive-through orders and claims Harris lied about working there in all-time bizarre photo op. Bizarre. It's bizarre for a presidential candidate to go into a restaurant and to actually serve the food there. I mean, this kind of thing has been done for time immemorial, but you heard the same messaging from who was that? Barbara Lee on MSNBC, I think it was, who we listened there. Bizarre. He's bizarre. And this dovetails perfectly with the messaging that they're putting out there these days around Trump. Like, he's lost it. He's out. They're easing into, he's got dementia, he's crazy, he's infirm, and they have to ease into it because they're, of course, the chief deniers of dementia when it's looking them in the face. So they really want to say that all of this, Trump showing up there, was so weird. It was like elderly weird, if you know what we're saying. Wink, wink, hint, hint. But they can't explicitly say it. So it's just, trust us, he's starting to lose it. The whole thing is infuriating, but it's also obvious.
Well, that's the Harris campaign message, which is why they're saying that. I don't really think it's more complicated than that. After trying out a few different messages, the first was joy. I can't even recall what the other iterations of her message were between then and now, but she has settled on he's dangerous, he's senile, he's crazy. And so that's why you see her allies adopting the same message. But the other factor is that I just don't think these people see and take in events and information the way that independent voters or swing voters do. And I genuinely think they may perceive it that way. And so that's what's leading to, we saw polls last week indicating that voters have historic distrust in the media. I genuinely just think that the folks who write for and run the legacy publications process these events differently and have very different reactions to them than normal people do.
They're just not very good at this. I feel like the Obama team would have had a response out in 30 seconds along the lines of, he wants to serve the McDonald's worker. He wants to do the McDonald workers' jobs. We want to make sure the McDonald workers get paid more. We actually want to help the McDonald's workers. We're going to help them buy a house. We're going to help them buy whatever. It would have been more articulate than that. But my point is, it wouldn't have been, he's bizarre. He's disrespecting the McDonald's workers. He's pandering. Hello, the whole entire campaign is a big pander. Imagine waking up one day to find out your home no longer belongs to you. That somewhere, someplace, somebody's stolen your property right out from under you. It sounds unthinkable, but it is a sad reality for some American homeowners, and it's a risk for anyone who owns property. House stealing, that's what the FBI calls it. It's a form of real estate fraud where scammers leverage loopholes in the system to fraudulently transfer your home's title into their name. And then they take out loans against your property or even sell it behind your back. By the time you find out, the scammer's long gone, leaving you, the legitimate homeowner, to clean up the mess. But right now, triple lock protection is available through HomeTitleLock.com, offering 24/7 title monitoring, alerts, and restoration services. You can sign up today at HomeTitleLock.com and use the promo code Megyn to get 30 days of protection for free and a comprehensive title scan right now to make sure you're not already a victim. That's promo code Megyn, MEGYN, and HomeTitleLock.com, or just use the link below. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.